Hello, I'm Generation 3DX. Welcome back to my series on creating beautiful art in DAZ Studio. In this 8th part to the series, I'll be discussing color and how its correct use and balance can transform an otherwise ordinary render into a beautiful, striking piece of art that will turn heads and get people clicking those like buttons. How you do this will be principally in your choice of colors for clothes, nails, makeup for your character, and to a secondary extent in the props and background that you select or customize. While there will be some DAZ how-to tips here, this video will differ from the others in that I'll be lending my quarter-century of education and experience in the fields of fine art and graphic design, so that this will be unlike any other DAZ tutorial you've seen. Let's start by looking at a scene where we've taken care of all the other important elements in DAZ, framing, camera lighting, tonal balance, etc. But despite the technicals of the scene looking correct, your eye is telling you that something isn't right. What is it? Maybe it's just not to your taste, or maybe there is a technical reason. In this image, I have given no regard to color harmony. Now that looks really quite obvious if you look at the fact that she's standing on a green rug with a purple wallpaper and a strange blue metallic object there, beige furniture, beige yellow furniture, and who put her in that dress, really? I mean, Abby deserves better than that, doesn't she? So how do we fix this? Well, one way is just to play around with the various color options that come with clothes, makeup, and set design until it just looks right. And indeed, there's no harm in this, as it's often part of the fun of being a DAZ creator, with the discovery of a particular combination that works well being highly rewarding. But what if I told you there is a reason why it doesn't look right? What if there is a system of color harmony that has a set of fundamental principles that could be applied to deliver a pleasing and satisfactory viewing experience? Do you imagine that the trillion-dollar global fashion and cosmetics industries wouldn't know about such matters, and that research hadn't been done on perhaps the most fundamental component in their products, that of color? Now, before you get scared off, know that the oldest system of color harmony is actually pretty simple. Like so many breakthroughs in the world of art and design, we have to go back to the Bauhaus school of 1920s Germany. One of the teachers at the school was the Swiss-born Johannes Itten. He proposed that in any piece of art or design, there should be one dominant color, while any secondary color should be its opposite, to facilitate a striking contrast. How do we know what is opposite? Well, the solution was simple. You'll probably know that a color spectrum, with red at one end and violet at the other, can be connected back on itself in a continuous circle, or wheel. And Itten was one of the first to do this. The opposite color is simply that which is on the far side of the wheel. This opposite color is also known as the complementary color, as it acts as a complement or enhancement to the primary. A third analogous color is allowable, but only as an accent, and only if it's closely next to the primary on either side. Any other colors would likely result in a jarring disharmony or ugliness. Importantly, grays, blacks, and whites are not considered colors but simply shades, and so can be used in combination with the above in a relatively liberal fashion. So let's take these principles and apply it to our problematic scene. So when we look at this scene, we can see that almost all the colors on the wheel are in it, and to a certain degree in equal measure. So there's a clear violation going on. We've got purple in the wall, we've got blue here, yellow, green, red. Everything's all just jumbled in. It's a total mess. So how do we start fixing this? Well, let's start with the wall first. So that's something that we can easily do. We go into the wall, into the surfaces tab, and you can see here I put in a really naughty purple here. So let's just neutralize that. Most people have, well, if you were Corbusier, you'd want a white wall, wouldn't you? But let's go with a neutral color here. Okay, and let's just fix the rug. So these are very easy fixes. We'll just set that to white as well. So already we're feeling a certain degree of relief, and we're having to kind of not close to kind of heading to the bathroom because we want to throw up. Okay, and talking of vomit, let's deal with this leather sofa here and set that to white as well. So we're doing something really simple here in that we're resetting some colors to neutral, white or grays basically, and then we can figure out what to do next. Okay, and this strange piece of art here, let's just set that to a silver. It's a metallic, so that white will set it to silver. Right, so that's now also looking better. We've got some cups here. Let's set those to neutral as well. Good. Okay, much better, much better. So now we have to think about what Abby is wearing, and honestly, somebody should go to prison for putting that dress on her, because she is undeserving in every possible way. Okay, so we select the dress. Let's just quickly get it on the surfaces. There it is, the flirty bow dress. And she's being a bit flirty today with that look, isn't she? Right, so let's go to the surfaces presets on this, and we've got some choices here, ready-made choices. So we could go with black, and that would be easy and a cheat, but actually one could argue that black wouldn't look quite right on Abby, and I'm going to discuss more as to why that is in the second part of this whole kind of conundrum of color. Okay, but I'm going to cheat by picking a dress that I know is going to work on her, and I think is going to work on her, which should be this one. That's actually better. I'm going to go with this one. I'm going to explain later why that particular dress was chosen, but for now I'm just picking that dress because we want to, if we do want to actually change the colors in away from the person in the scene to kind of fit our color harmony wheel, then we need to kind of start with the clothing and the person and then work our way outwards. So let's look at this dress in more detail. So what we've got here, we've got a primary color, a kind of a teal, a greeny blue, and then we've got a complementary here, which is kind of like a rose. How do you call it? It's like a dusky rose, isn't it? Now if we look at our color wheel, we'll see that this is going to be the primary color, and opposite the wheel we've got a kind of a reddish rose color. So that actually worked. It's not quite 180 degrees opposite, but it's close enough that we could think, yeah, it's fine. If this color was yellow, or if it was orange, then it wouldn't work, because you're heading away from you're heading away from the opposite, and more toward 120 degrees as opposed to 180, and it would just be wrong. So that works, and it works in terms of her colors. I'm going to talk about this in the second part, okay? But for now, we just say those colors work on Abby because of Abby's particular natural features, her light eyes and her white skin, her pale white skin, okay? So we've also got to fix her shoes as well, because those shoes clearly not correct. They're a gold color, which is a yellow, which is wrong. It's off. It's neither a complement nor is it a analogous color. It's not next to the primary color, which is the teal. Okay, so let's go into her. Let's find her shoes. There they are, and let's just go with. I think we'll just go with a neutral. We'll go with a neutral silver on this, because we don't really have a ready-made color, unless we actually just want to actually mess with them and actually pick. So we go with white there. That doesn't really look right somehow. Doesn't really look right. Let me just try. I've got rose gold there. Let me see if that works. Yeah, it does. There it is. So what we've got there is that we've got the rose gold is also the complementary. You can't really see it very well in this camera view. Let me see if I can get a different angle here. Yeah, it's not going to be easy to get both the shoes and the dress in. We can see that colour there. Yes, they're pretty gaudy looking. However, we can just say she's kind of a 1950s rock and roller or something like that. So that colour there is matching the pink, the rose pink of the dusky pink of the dress, and it's also, she's got her hair. You can't really see them from the main camera angle, but she's also got, her hair's actually not right. The hair should be curving down. Right, so I was just fixing her hair there because it was sticking out. Okay, so we were looking at the shoes. Okay, yeah, they're pretty interesting color, but they do match. And this is for the demonstration of showing what works in terms of the color harmony. Okay, let's just zoom in a bit here, and we find that she's probably not got the right nail color on either. So now that those red nails just won't work at all. Okay, so what we need to do is change her nail color. Okay, so I've fixed her nail color there. It's now like a fuchsia, so that goes with the pink accent on her, not accent, pink complementary to her dress. Okay, again, look on the color wheel. We've got teal and opposite teal. We've got anything between a red and a reddish purple color. Okay, so go back to the main camera view now. Now you can't really see her nails too clearly in this particular angle, but well, maybe it would be more. I mean, you can have these tiny little details can actually subtly make a difference. Okay. So now Abby's looking a lot better, and we've neutralized most of the scene. We still have this picture here, and personally I'd either want to get rid of it or I'd need to change it to something else. Because what we have here, we've got these colors going on, these oranges and yellows, which are in complete, they're a total clash with the colors we've got going on here. Okay, so let me just see if I can fix this and put a different image on it. So this, we can change this painting by selecting it, and we go to the Surfaces tab, and we find here there's a base color here which has got that image in. So let's change that image. That's much better. Now I cheated a bit here. I went and found an abstract painting that I knew was going to be the right kind of colors, but you can see here that works much better now because we've got an easy fit there on matching the dress, the secondary color, the complementary color of her dress. We've got to decide here what is going to be our primary color and what's going to be our complementary, because now that we've put this painting in here, most of the real estate on the picture is now this kind of a dusky rose. So it could be argued that dusky rose is now the primary color, and that the teal has become the complementary, and that's fine. That's fine. It's getting the proportions correct. If you had a 50-50 teal and dusky pink, then that's not going to, it's somehow not going to be right, because you have to have a dominant color. According to Itten, according to the school of Itten, you do have to have a single primary color that is the dominant color in the image. Okay, so if we decide then that is going to be our dominant image, now we can then start coloring the rest of the scene. Okay, so let's take this sofa on the leather here, and we'll go for a dusky pink. See how that looks. Yeah, that's actually not particularly good. Not a particularly nice piece of furniture, that. But let's try the other one as well. What was that color again? Yeah, it's not a sofa I would have in my house, to be honest. But But you can see just on the demo of this color, this color demo that we're talking about, it's starting to look better. Okay, we've got this lamp which is sitting here almost as a feature, as almost a counterpoint of Abbey. I would almost like to get rid of it really, because it's a pretty hideous looking lamp. But let's see if we can do something with this lamp, because it's offending mind sight. So we have here, it's going to be, what is that particular surface? Go to the surface selector, and it's the floor lamp base. Okay, so let's see if we can lighten this. Maybe make that white, turn it into a silver. Yeah, it's very bright, isn't it? Let me just take that one there, the spine, make that silver as well. Yeah, I think it kind of works. Because we don't want to overload we don't want to be overloading the image with color. We do want to maintain neutrals. I think neutrals are an important feature in terms of overall balance of an image, and also browns as well, because browns are generally considered to be neutral. Browns don't appear on the color wheel, but there's going to be more on browns later when we talk about human features. Okay, one more thing. Let's have a look at the curtains. Maybe we can actually try to match that accent there with the curtains there. So let's see if we can get a teal color going on those curtains. Yeah, maybe that's a little too obvious. I don't know. Now, if I was to make those curtain colors, for instance, really a violation of that would be if I made a kind of an orange. You can see what would happen if it was orange. I mean, that is obviously wrong, and that tells us that it's wrong. And sometimes it can be a good exercise to do something really crazy and illegal like that. Again, like a yellow. Yeah, I need to head to the bathroom. Let's just say we went with try to get that dusky pink color back. There it is. Yeah, it's getting a little bit boring potentially there, but this is becoming more and more subjective. The general principle. I'm going to go back with teal. The general principle is to understand that you have the primary, the complementary, and anything else would be an accent. What they call it, an analogous color. Now, if we did want to go with a small accent on an analogous color, maybe we could do that on these cups here, because they're barely part of the scene. So what would be an analogous color? If we look at the color wheel, we could go with something either blue as analogous to the teal, or maybe even green possibly, because the analogous color needs to be on either side of the primary. But this actually isn't the primary, is it? So the primary is now the dusky pink. So if it was dusky pink, then we would need either a red or possibly a violet, heading toward violet. So we've got here our hue here, if we think about that. So the dusky pink, we knew that the dusky pink was here, so we need to be in this region here for our analogous color. We don't want to go too far away from here. So if we, I mean, neither one of these is a color that you'd actually want to be drinking out of, I suppose. Yeah, that could probably work. Anyway, I don't want to belabor this particular point. Just copy that surface to the other one. It makes it easier to do that way. Yeah, we'll just consider those as a kind of a bit of a token demonstration of analogous colors, and they don't break the image. If we made those hideous green or yellow or something like that, then that would be, that would be a mess. And we've still got these covers here. Let's go with the teal color here. See what that looks like. Yeah, it looks like somebody's kind of trying too hard, I think. I might be better to go with darker. Yeah, we'll go with that. Right, and we'll just leave that neutral. Lil Ninja Man, apparently, that's called. Alright, so compared to how this image was at the start, and to how it looks now. Okay, so we can see a tremendous difference, tremendous improvement, just without changing anything else in the scene. We didn't change lighting, we didn't change camera, angle, focus, we didn't change the pose of the model, nothing like that. All we did was change color and it's transformed it. Okay, so that's the basic color harmony system as developed by Johannes Itten, and which has become pretty much a standard in any teaching of art, even from primary school and secondary school onwards into art college and so forth. It is something that pretty much everybody is taught. And if you didn't know about it, now you do, okay? And chances are you probably already did. Right, now there is a second part to this, and I alluded to this when I was talking about what colour is going to look right on Abby, okay? And this is now getting into a discussion of human beings and their bodies and where they fit in the colour in terms of colour harmony. Now, you may have noticed that in the real world, you see a person at a party or at work or something like that, and they just seem to know what they just seem to always look good. I mean, might not be that they're physically attractive, but they just seem to wear the right colours. And if they're women, then they're wearing the right makeup. In other cases, you will see people who you think, why are they wearing that? It's not the style of it's not the style of the clothing. It's the colours that they're wearing. It makes their skin look grey or green. Or if you have a woman who is got very light features, she wears very bright makeup, it just looks wrong. Something is wrong there. With this $1 trillion market in fashion up for grabs, it was only a matter of time before somebody worked out why this was the case. Why some people seem to wear the right colours and why others don't. And then to develop a system to take a chance out of picking the right colours for clothing and makeup. Well, that person was Carol Jackson, who released her Seasons of Colour system to the world in her best-selling 1979 book Colour Me Beautiful. The essence of this system is that the right colours for a particular person depend upon two factors: light and dark, and coolness and warmth. Now, light and dark is the most obvious concept. Who has dark or light hair? Who has dark or light eyes? It seems to make sense that a person with light eyes and hair would be overwhelmed and become imbalanced if they wore strong, high contrast colours or heavy makeup with bright colours, because naturally they have low contrast between light, hair, eyes and skin. Similarly, somebody with dark eyes or hair would be better suited for stronger colours to continue that high contrast between their darker eyes and hair and their lighter skin. This is the first basic subdivision of Jackson's season system. Spring and summer are for light, autumn and winter are for dark. Coolness and warmth is much more subtle. Most of us are probably familiar with the concept of cool and warm colours. A cool pink, for instance, would be biased more toward violet or blue, while a warm pink or salmon would have more orange undertones. A person's skin tone will also have either a cool or warm bias. This is not at first obvious, but some people have a cool, white skin under their forearms with blue undertones, while others have a golden or yellow undertone. Which of these will determine whether a light-haired and eyed person is either a spring, warm, or summer, cool, or a dark-haired or eyed person is either autumn, warm, or winter, cool. In her system, Jackson published color palettes to demonstrate which colors would look best on people. spring colours for those with light features but warm skin, summer for light features and cool skin, autumn for dark features and warm skin, winter for dark features and cool skin. Okay, so that's enough of the theory. The beauty of Daz Studio is that you can experiment quickly and easily by substituting clothes and makeup colours instantly with your characters. Let's have a look at this in action. So what's the first thing we can say about Abby? She's a blue-eyed brunette, which is perhaps not the easiest start to this demo, but we started with her in this scene, so let's just go with her for now. Okay. We can see she's obviously Caucasian, so she's got light skin. In fact, she's got very light skin, very pale. Now, she's got dark hair. Okay, so we're immediately presented with a bit of a conundrum here, because we couldn't necessarily know instinctively which season she is. Okay, because light eyes, if she had, for instance, dark hair and dark eyes, then that rules out spring and summer. We can say she's definitely either autumn or winter, and then we just need to kind of narrow it down to whether she had light golden skin or bluish skin. Okay, but as she's got blue eyes, quite light blue eyes, with her dark hair, this could put her it could almost put her in any season. So before we do that, let's just figure out on the skin tone. Now you'll see here, and sometimes you just have to experiment to find on a particular Daz character what the skin tone, whether the skin tone really is a golden skin tone, a warm skin tone, or whether it's actually more of a cool bluish skin tone. Now, the colours that worked well on Abby, I consider to be kind of cool. They're kind of cool colours. Okay, if I was to put try to put a salmon pink, let me see if I can do this with this dress. We know these colours work well. And they are cool looking colors, and the reason that they're cool colors is because it's hard to really kind of pin down what is it, how in the case of these more complex colors like teal and dusky rose, what is cool. But if we try to put more of an orange tint on that, I'm going to try to cheat by putting a slight bias of yellow here on this hue. Okay, as an overlay of that. Yeah, there we go. Right, and let's try to do the same with I think it's outer skirt. Yeah, it is. So we'll do the same again. We'll just try to put this yellowish tint here. Okay. I think you will agree that that looks worse. And it's not necessarily that they're bad colours. Well, you might think, oh, they're just horrible colours. Well, it might be that those colours actually look really good on a redhead. And we'll talk about redheads in a minute, because greens is usually a classic one to go with redheads. This is not working for Abby. This then tells us that she has got cool skin, because the warmish colours don't look right on her. Okay, so I'm going to undo all that and we'll go back to how she was. Okay, now you see that tells this is like, yes, this works. So Abby is now therefore either a summer or a winter, because summer and winter is cool. Okay, so let's talk about summer versus winter. Winter colours have higher contrast. They're much brighter, bolder colours, because they can go with somebody who's got bold contrast in their natural features. Now it can be argued that Abby has got a bold contrast between her dark, almost black hair and her white skin, so she could maybe be classified as winter. But her light eyes are kind of telling us a different story. So it's really not obvious. In that situation, you have to basically try to find what works. Now, in this case, these are pastel shades on her dress. If we look at the summer palette, we see that pastel shades are the biz when it comes to summer. Okay, so this is kind of telling us that she's probably a summer, and the reason that she is a summer is because of her eyes. If we were to put dark eyes on her just for 1 second, that might actually change the whole mix. So let's actually just do that. That could be a way to kind of finally settle the argument on whether she's summer or whether she's winter. Okay, so I've temporarily sent Abby off to the genetic clinic here and given her dark eyes. She doesn't really look like Abby anymore. She looks like somebody completely different. And I think that's telling us, I think you can agree that it's telling us now that this doesn't look right. But I bet you if we actually turn this dress into a bright red, maybe get the filleted bow dress up here, we'll go to our surfaces again, presets. Let's turn this into a bright red color. That works, right? I think you'd agree that works. Because red is a very bold winter color, which can only be sustained by people who have got bold colors in their natural features. You know, dark eyes, dark hair. So if we put her, we reset her eyes back to what they were, you can say it's not a disaster. It's not a fashion disaster. This is a fashion disaster. Okay, because well, let's talk about this. Why is this a fashion disaster? Because we've decided that we definitely know she's summer or winter. She's cool skin, and yet these are warm colors. Okay, the yellow is definitely that yellow is, and that kind of crimsony color there are kind of, they're not working at all. They might suit a pub wall on a wallpaper, but certainly not blue-eyed, pale-skinned Abby. And this red here is kind of a warmish red as well. So this is a disaster. If we look at this one, it kind of almost works, even though it's very bold. Is that even? I think it's violet. It's there we go. It's okay. It works. This works better. And that tells us really, because it's a better feel, and we get a better glow when we see her, that it tells us that she's really a summer and she's really not a winter. But she could be borderline for either one. I just noticed her makeup here. She's got warm coloured lipstick on, which actually shouldn't really be there. Let me see if I can just quickly fix her lips. Alright, so in order to fix Abby's lips, we've got a number of presets that came with the character Diana by Fred Winkler Art, who she's based on. So we can see here that we've got some warm, that's a warm colour. That's definitely cool, that's definitely a cool, like a pink. That could be either one. Okay, so let's try to fix her lips. This was not a part of the plan. I just noticed this when I'd loaded her in this morning. So let's try giving her these cool lips here. So well, it's also changing her makeup as well, which I had actually customized. So this is actually not really what I'd intend. But just for the purposes of this demo, clearly that's matching that complementary color now. I mean, it's kind of dark. It's kind of a bit on the dark side for what I would want. But if we did this one, I mean, where do I even begin with this? It's very, very bright, which is not really what a summer color should have. A summer, this would work better on perhaps on a winter, but even then, no, because it's too warm. So the contrast is too much, and it's a warm color. So this is a lipstick disaster. Okay, Let's go back to how she was. I think, yeah, lip. I find I'm still working, improving on my skills on doing lips. Lips are hard to get right. Okay, but you get the general idea. Is that she would want makeup that is enhancing her cool skin. Okay, now perhaps one way that I could try to cheat on doing this, I can zoom in a little bit here so we can see this a bit more clearly. So yeah, this is a much better, clearer shot. Let's see if we actually, you know what? I'm looking at her now. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. So if you compare the hue of the lipstick there with the hue of her skin, it's actually just really a deeper shade of what her skin is. So in this case, I think it's probably allowable. Anyway, you can probably maybe have some comments on this about this. Lipstick is something I don't claim to be an expert in. I'm a guy, and no, I don't wear lipstick. I'm not that kind of guy. Okay. So right, that's all I'm going to really do on lip. So we'll just do a final render with Abby here. Okay. And there she is in her final rendered state, and a pretty pleasing image. She looks great. She looks great always. Well, as long as we don't put her on a fashion disaster anyway. Good. Let's take another one of my characters who's also got dark hair but brown eyes. Okay, here is Rebecca, who, if you were watching these videos in the sequence that I recommend, then she was in the last video. Okay, so Rebecca is, she is Spanish, so she's got the Mediterranean look of dark hair and dark eyes. So, at a first glance, what season do you think she could be? A spring or summer, or an autumn and winter? Well, that first question should be easy. She's not a spring or a summer because she's got dark features. Okay, so she would not be working well with pastel shades or salmon pinks or something like that. She's going to need something which is going to enhance and complement the contrast that she's got in her natural features. So let's put her in some colors and see. We've got to determine whether she's autumn or winter. Okay, because I say that's the harder part, is determining whether they're going to respond better to warm or to cool colors. Okay, so I've put her in winter colors. So here we have a almost camera sensor overwhelming red crimson-y color. Okay, so it's a coolish, very, very bright, but it's somewhat on the cool side. I don't know about you, but that looks stunning on her. That's really brought out the contrast in her features and enhanced them and complemented them. I cheated a little bit here because I knew from the previous episode there's renders of her in this particular outfit, and she looks great. She really does look good. That to me is telling her that she's probably a winter, because this is a winter color, and it just looks really, really good on her. But one way we could really confirm that is if we try to make that a little bit warmer, because if you look at the autumn color palette, it's probably where it got its name from, because autumn colors you traditionally think of as, yellowed leaves, brown, oranges, and so forth. If we put a tint on this crimson skirt and top to basically turn it into an autumn color, let's see what happens. Okay, so I've selected a surface here on her skirt and open up the color selector on the base color. So if we said we want to make it warmer, in fact, they've actually done us a favor here. The designers of this, Lioness is the designer of this particular outfit. In fact, let's just use the to save us on a bit of work here. I'm just going to zoom in so we don't have to mess around with the skirt. We can just do it on her top. You generally find that the closer to the face the colors are, the more important they become, because it makes sense, because one tends to look at another person's face, and the eyes, the lips, and the hair. They're all up in that area around the head. So the closer you get to the head, the more important the colours are. Right. So we'll pick the top, and I think hopefully we've just got one. Oh, we've actually got a number of surfaces that we've got to do here. Let's see if we can select all 3 of them and change them all at the same time. So we go for something warmer. Maybe not that. That's a bit ridiculous. Kind of it. Right, there we go. Right. Actually, she could pass. She could pass in that. It's not a fashion disaster, is it? But you tell me which you think looks better, that or that. I think this looks better. And again, it's not like a yes or no proposition. You're dealing with, logically speaking, you're dealing with shades of grey here. So the kind of more orangey colour, yeah, it doesn't look right. Actually, I think that swung it for me. If I try to make it just almost like a spectrum red, yeah, it doesn't work as well. That works much better on her, and that tells us that she is a winter. Okay, and your sense of aesthetics and the pleasing, the sense of pleasure, or not pleasure, but the sense of rightness that you get when you see an image in terms of the color will tell you whether you've got it right. And ultimately that is your final judge, isn't it? The color the seasonal system is just simply there to help you more quickly get to that final solution that you want. Okay, so we can see that the bright spectrum colors work very well on winters, and winters are quite easy, I would say. And you find that obviously when you're dealing with non-Caucasians, Asian people, and people from African descent, they're usually winter. So they have it pretty easy. It's the Caucasians and the Europeans that have the harder time getting the right colours. I hope that's not racist to say that, but yeah, us whiteys have got our work cut out for us in basically picking the right colours. Okay, enough on that subject, I think. Let's actually now take another look at a different model, and we'll see what's going on with that. So let's now talk about redheads. Aren't they fun? Redheads are always fun. This is Joni, and this is actually from an existing set where you can see that I put her in a dress that is definitely a warm color. It's kind of a coppery, I don't know even what you would call that color, but it certainly works on her, I think, and that kind of lends us to the idea that redheads, I think in general, usually like to have warm colors. But again, that's a controversial statement. It's going to end up working out in terms of what works. Okay, if we were to put her on in a winter color, I wanted to just demonstrate. I'm just going to grab that last outfit that we had on Rebecca, and we put this on Joni, and we'll just see. It's going to be, I'm sure it's going to be a fashion disaster. Okay, and here she is in that same dress that we had Rebecca in, and I don't know about you, but it just doesn't look right. It doesn't look right at all. Why doesn't it look right? Well, even without getting into Carol Jackson's season system, I think we've already got a clash between the fact that we've got orange and a kind of a purplish red, a red that is veering toward the purple. Is violating analogous color system that we have from Itten's color wheel. Okay, so orange and red are, you think, well, they're kind of next to each other, aren't they? Well, so if they're next to each other, where is the complementary color? There is no complementary color, and the orange is there. It's too much of a feature to get away with being an analogous color. Clearly, the primary color here is the red of her dress, but the orange, even if you could argue that it's close to red, it's not, there is no complementary in a form of a green or a teal color. So it's just, the balance is off. The balance is off completely. So if you were a redhead and you're walking around in that dress, you'd think, oh, look at me, I'm the dame of the ball, or whatever it is. No, you're not, love, because that is not the right color to be wearing. Let's fix her. We'll keep this X's and bows dress on, and we need to find the right color that's going to work with Joni. So let's have a look at the options that we have that come out of the box for this particular dress. So we have some standard colors that we could use, which are just cheats really, because actually if you look on the editor, it's just a color. Okay, but we might actually get lucky and find something that's going to work, and immediately I'm drawn to this one, and I hope I'm not wrong, but I think this could actually be the right one for her. Okay, so it's actually not bad. It's not bad. The reason I picked that was because it had warm colors on, and I thought the warm colors were going to go well with her, because I think she's probably a spring. She's definitely spring or summer, because she's got light eyes and her hair is mid to light in color. So spring or summer, and it would be determined by whether we'd want her as a warm complement or we'd want her as a cool complement. I don't know if you think that's okay. I think it's okay. It's not bothering me. It's not offending me. Okay, so that's leaning us toward the fact that she could be a spring. Okay. Now the way to confirm it would be to put purposefully cool colors on her and then see what happens with those. So let's just try that. So we've got that number 5. We'll come back to that again in a minute. Yeah, this isn't working for a number of reasons. I think really because they're very bold colors, which would work better on an autumn or a winter. Okay, so we're not even going to get into that one, and we could probably completely skip this one because this again is more of a winter. Very cool colors and very, very bold. So that just doesn't work on her at all. Okay, and likewise this isn't going to work on her. Again, this is more of a winter outfit. Very black in general is just for winters, even though you can consider it to be a neutral because it's such a strong, bold color. It's only going to work on either an autumn or winter. In her case, it's a disaster. Right now, this one. This could work. I don't know if it really does. It should, in a way. I think it should work because you've got some warm colors here. It's not too dark. It's just with blues. I've never seen redheads and blues go well together. It's just the denim that is somehow not making that work for me. Again, it's not a disaster, but it's not something that's really, I don't know, it's not really grabbing me somehow. If I go back to 5, it just works a lot better for me. Let's try this cool looking pink. Is it a cool pink? Well, it's certainly making a statement, isn't it, that kind of pink. Okay, actually we'll stick with this pink. And let's warm it up or cool it down and see what happens. Okay. Again, just save a bit of time. I'm just going to zoom in on the face so we don't have to think about her skirt. So that there. Let's just see. Let's just. If in doubt, you experiment and just see what happens. Okay. Let's get a top up. Editor. We select them all at once, and then we can change this base color here. See, the reason I'm on the fence on this one is that already is a slightly warm pink. Okay. If I cool it off, so it's kind of more of like a baby pink there. Yeah, I'm not sure. So let's go the other way. Warm it up. Yeah, she's spring. She's definitely a spring. That works a lot better, doesn't it? Well, that's my opinion. You might disagree, but that compared to That something's not right. Again, I think it's the fact that the cool pink is on the color wheel, on Itten's color wheel. It's neither a complementary nor is it an analog color, whereas that is very close to her natural colors with her red hair, and it's a very subtle color as well. If I made this really deep and dark, the same hue, 359. Okay, this is our hue going across here, and our saturation is up and down, and our brightness is here. Okay, hue, saturation, brightness. So we increase the saturation to make it a really vivid version of that, and it actually still works. It still works, and that is again confirming to us that she's a spring, and she can get away with that color. And that color, believe it or not, that color does not work well on almost anybody else that I've seen. It works particularly well, I think, on redheads. This kind of salmony pink color, and it's a very subtle. It's a very subtle kind of change that you get on the pinks, because they're so close to skin color that the differences become very significant based upon the hue of that. Okay, so actually she looks really quite ravishing even in that color. If I was to make it really dark, this could tell us whether she's autumn or spring. See, now this is really more of an autumn color, and suddenly it's not doing as much, is it? Go back to that. That is like, yeah, I want this. I mean, I want her, you know, in it. But that is like saying, maybe not. So that's a spring. Okay, Joni's a spring. So we've covered Abby, who was a summer with her blue eyes and cool skin. She looked good in pastel, cool colors. We had Rebecca, who was a winter, who with dark eyes and dark hair, but cool skin, looked great in the winter outfit, that winter version of this outfit. And then we have Joni, with being a redhead, and looking great in spring colors. Okay, so what about autumn? Autumn, I find, is one of the more tricky ones to get right, and I'm going to cheat a little bit, because I'm not going to cheat. I'm going to load in Kira, who's also a redhead, but she's got brown eyes. Okay, so let's actually look at Kira now. Okay, so here is Kira, and she is what I would consider to be an advanced topic, because it's not straightforward what to do with her. She's got this unusual combination of brown eyes and red hair. Okay, it's a very dark red, deep red hair, almost brown, but it's definitely still red hair. And she's got the freckly skin that goes with redheads. Okay, so it's an unusual combo. It does exist, and I created her kind of as a challenge, really. And believe me, it's a challenge figuring out what to put on her in terms of clothing, because I have a suspicion she's probably an autumn, and I want to try to prove that hypothesis now with a demo to see if we can actually nail that. So if we actually take a look at the autumn palette, with the autumn palette we have got lots and lots of colors that you just think of as being autumn. Lots of browns and warm, very warm, dark colors. Okay, so in terms of where to go with this, we could say that some warm dark greens are going to work, and lots of different browns could work as well. So let's see if we can actually work some magic here. Okay, so we'll start with her t-shirt, and let's just see, for instance, if we can go with one of these greens. That's going to be two Well, it's too vivid for one thing. Oh, I don't know, because vivid can work with autumns, but it's too cool. So we need to warm that up a bit by moving it toward the yellow. Yeah, I think she's autumn. That works. I mean, that is a very difficult color for most people to wear. A very challenging color, which is probably why you don't see that in shops very much. I'll darken that a little bit, and actually just going to reduce the saturation a little bit as well. Not as exciting, that one. Not as exciting. Just lift up the. Let's make it into more of a chartreuse color. Yeah. Well, I thought she was actually going to be harder not to crack than this, but by looking at and in fact, this is an excellent demonstration of knowledge of Carol Jackson's system, and actually having the palette in front of you with DAZ Studio, and then just trying to put those colors on, and we got instant results. And I thought it was going to be much more difficult. Let's try a different one. Let's try an even crazy orange color. Okay. So looking at that palette there, it's almost like a pumpkin color. If it's pumpkin, it wants to be a little bit. Yeah, I'm not as convinced about that one. I think the green looked really good. Although I've got a trouser to think about here. We don't want to get into the trouser department. Let's just zoom in a little bit so we can just focus on her head, and we'll probably just get rid of that bag. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling the vibes there. She looks great, and that is such a difficult color for most people to wear. Now, I think we're pretty close to determining that she really is an autumn. But let's just get the jury to award a unanimous verdict here, and I'm going to cool that green down. Yeah, I think she could get away with that. But I think redheads and green, I mean, that's almost like a known thing. Redheads and green, they will always work well. So she can get away with it because being her redhead and being green. But if I go back to the other one, that works better, doesn't it? Even though you think it's not as pretty a color. You know, it's kind of a sick green, and yet somehow she's turned sick green into gold. Magic. Right. So let's have a look at one more color with her, which apparently is supposed to work, which is turquoise. So let's just get that turquoise color up. I think that's it there, color. That's the turquoise color. Wow. Wow. Yeah. I never would have put a redhead in blue, a bluish color like that, but if she walked down the street, I would be the guy in that meme who's turning around, you know, while the girlfriend is looking at me with scorn, because that's definitely a head turner for me. Okay, so that would be the last of the seasons. But before I go, we didn't get to talk about blondes, and no discussion of blondes and DAZ Studio on my channel would be complete without Kayla. So let's bring Kayla up. Okay, here she is, the blonde bombshell herself, Kayla. So I put her in a color which I know works well. I'm cheating because I know she's summer. She's summer through and through. She's like the most summery summer that ever existed, if the summer day began with summer, and it begins and ends with Kayla. Right. So Why is she a summer? Well, she's got these baby blue eyes. She's got a pale bluish white skin, and she's blonde. So blue eyes and blonde is never ever going to be a winter or an autumn, because you're dealing with a light color here against light skin, so you have low contrast. There's a low contrast between her hair and her skin. So if you were to put her in this floral red dress, for instance, no, it's just go home now, because that would look fantastic on Rebecca probably, but it's just completely dominated. It's completely bleached out and destroyed her natural beauty by just completely dominating the color scene. Okay, I realize that sounds pretentious, but it's true, isn't it? And your gut tells you it's just wrong. Okay, let's just try this pink with her. I'm not sure I really go for the pattern, but technically speaking the color would actually work. I'm going to zoom out a little bit here so I'll look a bit more of this dress. Yeah, I'm not sure about the actual material of that dress, to be honest. Let's just go back in. Yeah, I mean, I guess it does potentially work. But see, okay, here's one thing to talk about with blue eyes and green eyes. If you wear something which matches your eyes, as this does, you're already off to a good start, aren't you? Because you're basically reinforcing Itton's color wheel by saying my blue eyes are part of the primary color. If the blue is the dominant color of the clothing, is the main color of what you're wearing. So yes, that's basically Itton's color wheel, isn't it? Saying my blue eyes are part of the primary color. So Kayla just looks amazing in blue. If we look at the summer palette from Carol Jackson, you can see there's a lot of blues in there. Okay, but there's also you've got a lot of cool pinks as well. Very few, there's no warm colors there at all. It's all cool colors. But I guess I'm spoiled with Kayla. I almost always put her in blue because she just looks so damn good in blue. Let's just again do a violation here. You think, oh well, anybody can wear black. Black's a neutral, right? I think it's a common misconception that anybody could wear black. Yes, she can get away with that, and she's not. You know, it's not going to be a disaster, but she can look so much better if she's not wearing a color that is completely bleaching out her features by being so dark and dominant. Okay, so it's going to be another blue day for you, Kayla. All right. In closing, I just want to talk about one last thing, which is jewelry and accessories. If you do like to put those on your dad's characters, it's important to know whether to use gold or silver. So let's just have a look at Sansa, and we'll see. Okay, so here is Sansa. She is confirmed as a winter. I have done some color tests on her. She's not autumn. You never quite know with brown-eyed brunettes. You have to just basically experiment, I think. Anyway, yeah, so she is a confirmed winter, which is why she's looking very nice in this, I guess it would call that periwinkle blue top. And I have put some jewelry on her. Jewelry is, well, metal is, you can have copper, although it's not very common. Obviously the most common is white gold or silver for a neutral effect, and traditional 18 karat gold, also known as yellow gold, but just gold is gold colored, right? Okay, so knowing what you know about skin tones, warm and cool colors, you can probably take a wild guess as to why some people look better in traditional gold and others look better in white gold or silver. So yes, you are correct. It's summers and winters who like cool colors are going to look better in white, gold and silver. And springs are going to look better, springs and autumns are going to look better in traditional gold. Okay, so it's quite subtle, this. It's not as obviously blindingly obvious as wearing a bright blue top versus, say, a mustard colored top for Sansa. But it can make these subtle differences and to really enhance the beauty of your final image. Okay, so here you can see she's got gold on, and okay, so it's fine. I mean, it's not causing a meltdown in our kind of aesthetic minds, but I believe it will look better if we actually make that jewelry silver. So let's go ahead and do that now. Okay, so that's the necklace and the chain. Sometimes it can be tricky to select these, do the material selection, surface selection. There it is, and we select silver here. And also the earring there. Well, that actually is really surprising because that has made a massive difference. If you think about how it was before, it wasn't really it wasn't a detriment to how she was looking, but it wasn't really adding to it. Now suddenly, it's just, that's like night and day to me. And I'll just do two renders together so you can compare them side by side. You can see how just the silver is working. It just works and it enhances. It gives a bonus to the beauty of that image. Okay, so that's just a quick note on jewelry: gold versus silver, or white gold versus gold versus silver, or gold versus white gold, in terms of whether they're a summer, winter, or if they're autumn, spring. Okay, so I think that covers it for this video. I hope I've been able to demonstrate how the correct use of color can determine whether your final scene will be so-so or just ugly, versus one that pops out at the viewer with striking beauty. Having an understanding of the color wheel with primary, complementary and analogous colors chosen correctly, so you have color harmony in the scene in general, and understanding which season your character is in, and picking the right clothes, makeup and jewelry to make them look stunning in their final renders. In the next and final video in the series, I'll be bringing everything together that you have learned so far in a final demo, where I'll be building a scene from first concept through character selection, posing, cameras, lighting and colors, all the way to a final render. If you enjoyed this video or found it useful, then please like and subscribe and leave a comment. You can learn more about my art by following me at Generation 3DX on DeviantArt. I'll see you in the final video.